Hello, I'm Cody, and my major is communications, and I'm taking gender studies to learn a better perspective over gender, race, sexual orientation, and about different cultures and how they view genders and how basically the history of gender, and then learning more about gender identity and where that comes from and what that means. I'm going to talk about some elements down here. So think about, we're going to go left to middle and kind of go down and then continue back to left and then middle to go down. So think about, here's the elements of gender studies. Essentialism, this assumes every person is born with a particular sex, which is true, we all know this. This is a science fact. This is fixed at birth. This idea comes from men and women serving different complementary roles. Basically, women and men are differently and they serve different roles that both complement each other. Number two, socialization. This is learned behavior from a young age as a child, which is based on social cognitive theory. Through this, you learn what is appropriate to our gender and through your race, class, age, and sexuality. Being appropriate, certain words at certain times are not appropriate in society, and this is the same where you learn about this culture, gender appropriation, basically at a young age and how that works. And then continued, the social learning theory, children are innately gendered at a young age. This model of behavior comes from observation, imitation, and interaction. Basically, from a young age, children learn gender and learn that it's really important social construct and basically on how our society views things and is organized, which brings us down to social construction. This conceptualizes identities that are more fluid and less stable, meaning the objects and behaviors are not fixed or inherent. Basically, this means gender is a social construction. There's male, female, but there's also men and women, which is a gender. And gender you can change based on how which one you mostly identify with. Continued interaction is crucial to the construction of identifying beyond childhood experiences. People present certain parts of themselves to certain types of groups. People try to manage perceptions of others by shaping their appearance and behavior. I always thought people were kind of two-faced if they act in one situation and differently in another, but according to our book, they are not. They're just trying to adapt based over our social construction when they're in different types of groups. Number two, why is there a need for this field? These are some things I came up with after reading this week's reading. Number one, to explain how identity works and how they are created through a social structure. B, to help stop stigmas. C, to review gender at its source. D, to develop a better understanding of genders through culture and norms. And I had put some of the issues down here, but I'm going to skip that because we're a little short on time. And then number three, how can we research this? Without research, we wouldn't be able to properly create methods and analysis based on gender studies and prenotations. So type of research I came up with is we could create and send out surveys through emails and other apps like Facebook and Instagram. After getting back from a pool of about 1,000 or more, we can formulate a post hypothesis that would either confirm or deny our thesis, basically our hypothesis before we even started the survey. So historical gender, how does historical gender inequality inform gender studies? One, by informing. By informing people about gender inequality of the past, we can better understand to better the community for the future. A lot of people don't understand gender; they just think it's he and she, but it's a lot more. It's a lot more than that. Number two, by learning gender studies, we can understand why certain groups are oppressed more than others. We can have a better understanding and hopefully see things from a different perspective, or better understand why we believe what we believe. So this is what I did up here. And since I'm a communication major, I find basically culture and how people interact very interesting. So that's why I decided to break down some key elements and then why the field of gender I think is important. What are the issues? And then what type of research methods would be best to learn more about gender. All right, thanks.